Welcome to T Boys TV. We are back again with another Hat Show, obviously episode 239. And obviously in this one, we are back from the international break, and we've got obviously an away game, early kickoff. Obviously we're away against Hull, and to be fair, Hull is a team we do have a good record against over the years. We'll get into that a bit, bit shortly. But first of all, Dad, how have you been during this international break?
Yeah, not too bad. I got my car fixed, car on. Just seeing that the lads have done well, a couple of them on the bike and that, and just hoping that we've got enough players back, and we're going to push these last few games and try and get out of this situation. So yeah, but I'm good. Yeah, I'm all right.
Yeah, good. What we might as well do a little bit is touch a bit more on them players during the break, because obviously there was some standout ones. Now we'll start off obviously with Johnson, not quite a standout, but what I will say is he did play one game for the England under-19s, and he was part of a clean sheet in their opening game in this break, 2-0 win. He played the full 90 minutes as well. So that was good. But then the game after that, he was on the bench, and then he didn't quite, feature in the squad at all for the final game, which I was a little bit surprised that he weren't at least on the bench. And then obviously you had Bell, obviously played for Jamaica. Didn't go quite well. They did get a 1-1 draw, but they were disappointing. I did actually manage to watch the game, and they were quite disappointing, to be honest. He went down twice in that game, so he sort of had them fears. Especially if you saw it, that he would potentially be out for us. And it just happens, doesn't it? Usually it's not quite when he's playing for Jamaica, it's when he comes back. But based on the history, you sort of sensed it. But then obviously the standout ones was obviously Asgard, senior debut. We were all thinking to ourselves, well, is he going to start the game or is he going to come on? He obviously did start, did get the best, one of the best ratings in the game. Better rating than Haaland and Odegaard. Let's get that in. But yeah, really good performance from him. He was just everywhere. And you could see even from minute one, that he was so determined to get a goal. The first goal was obviously he got fouled. I did get a bit worried. I did think he, got badly hurt, but obviously he was all right in the end. And then he was just getting in them positions, edge of the box, having the chances. And then obviously for the corner, it's one of them where it was too powerful that the keeper couldn't deal with it, wasn't it, Dad?
Yeah, it was good. He was all over the place, kind of, getting into good positions. Obviously, it's a bit different when he's playing for us. It's a bit more defensive for that. But yeah, he's a quality player. And like I say, I'm glad we got him, and that'll just boost his confidence even more. And again, he did play in the last game, but that's fine. That's good for us. So yeah, they're looking after him. He's definitely one for the future, I think. And he's a decent signing. So yeah, it's excellent for him.
Yeah, absolutely. Looks very promising, as we know. And then, like you say, he didn't even play the other day, which is good because a lot of people had their worries if he did play, because obviously he got when he got jumped on, basically. Sometimes if that happens like again, might get injured, and he's been all right. The games for us, he's been one of the better players. Obviously, he did score against Cardiff, the winner as well. So, thank God for that, and glad that he got out of that. No injuries. And then obviously the last one, obviously was Jones. Did get a hat trick in the first game, and I didn't quite manage to watch it, but I kept an eye on it and saw that he got the hat trick, and it was quite funny because I saw him up front, which obviously we haven't seen at Luton yet, and we was thinking, okay, let's see what he can do. And then they scored, and on flash scores, it don't always come up with the scorer straight away. So I said to Jamie, imagine if that's Jones. And it was. And then I said that the second time, it was. And then the third time, sort of knew it was going to be him, just with how the game was going. So, that was great for him. And I saw the goals, obviously you saw them as well, Dad. They're all different goals, which is good. Like, obviously, we've had our issues with up front recently. And, we've seen from that someone else can do it. And again, he's not playing the greatest opposition, but still, whatever goal you score, whatever level you score goals at, you're always going to get confidence. and that's what happened. First one past the keeper, second one just pounced on it, and the third one was quite, similar in that sense to obviously a second, and it's just great to see. And then obviously the other day they did unfortunately lose 2-0. We didn't quite score in that game, but there's another option that we can have there. I mean, me and you are heavily, you know, saying about Ali out wide. A lot of people have been saying about him up front. Another option, but I just think he brings more out wide. And I think the way we play, like you said, that I think it don't really suit him. He's not the tallest of players. You want him getting on the ball, driving forward. As a sub right now, not going to get ahead of Doughty, is he? Let's be honest. So yeah, and I think Jones is put a contention up there at least for that striker position with the conundrum that we've got at the moment.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's good that he got that. I think he's really enjoying his football at the moment. He's moved his family down from up north, and another really good player. Um, Potential there. You could say you could put him up front, but I mean, yeah, the strikers ain't performing, but that really, if you're putting a winger up front, it's not going to make them feel any better, is it? You could do that, and you could put Bowler in his position on the wing, but I can't really see it happening. But it's food for thought. You can say like in game, you can tell him to get forward a little bit more, get in, when the set pieces and that, and get in and around the box and that, and latch onto so. But we've seen bits of that anyway. I think on his debut he blazed one over. Was it against Watford? I think it might have been. So he does
Blazed it wide. Yeah, he had a great chance.
So yeah, I can't see him being up front. Do you know what I mean? Unless we had some mad injury crisis. But again, it's just gonna, he's looking really good, and hopefully, these players that we've signed are going to get us over the line. To be honest, but if they don't, fantastic players to have in League One. Do you know what I mean? The Birmingham potentially going to do the double. Win the league, win BSM Motors Trophy or whatever the fuck it is. Just too good for that level. And we've got more money than them. We've got better players than them. Even now, we have to clear out if it doesn't. Like I say, a lot of players. If you keep Doughty as well, unlikely. Do you know what I mean? But if you could keep any of them players, they're just way too good for that level. You'd just tear it apart. You would. I watched some of the games in there. There's fight and stuff like that in there. But if you've got real quality, it just jumps you up the league. There's certain teams that have got good quality. In a couple of like Peterborough, they started with Poco, who's balling it, and he got injured, and they just struggled without him. But we've got more than one player, and things like that. So yeah, that's why I just don't think he's going to be playing up front, but it is food for thought. Getting him in and around certain positions and filling in gaps for the strikers who have moved it here, there, and every. Do you know what I mean? So we'll see. We'll see what happens with that. But I'm sure he'll be starting tomorrow anyway.
Well, Saturday, you mean? You're so used to doing it on Fridays.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, no, it's one of them. But yeah, no, I agree. I just think it brings another option, like I say, the Jones thing, in the sense of, again, it wasn't the greatest opposition, but he's taking them chances when they're falling to him. And right now, the signings have been the most impactful. Let's be honest, really, especially as you would expect. Just with players low on confidence and just not playing to the level we know they can. The signings have just got that determination to do well, and he has done that. And again, I feel sort of when we put him as like when we played a 3-5-2 and sort of have him as that right sort of defensively. He can do all right defensively, but there has been a few games where he's got a card. So I'd just like to see him personally just higher up there using that threat, especially his pace. You know, his pace to get him behind is quality. And it reminds me of like when we did utilise Chio right, you know, when we did put him up front, not up front, sorry, but higher up, you know, driving up players and stuff. Um, so yeah, we shall see. But overall, pretty good international you know, break for our players. Barbell, like I say, getting an injury which has, you know, put him as a doubt for the game against Hull. Obviously, we'll find out tomorrow more on that. But I'll be honest, he's not been the best since he's come back. So, you know, Naismith didn't even play against Middlesbrough. So, you know, for me, that should be a like for like come straight in for him, really. Obviously, we know he can play on that left side. Before he was playing in the middle of the back three, I was saying, you know, let's play him on the left of a back four. But obviously, it went to a back three. But obviously, it don't matter. He can play on that left, even as a left centre back. So, yeah, that's what I will say on it. But let's go through some comments. Big up to Alex. It says evening, gents, and big up to Paul as well. Hope you guys are well. But yeah, moving on to the whole game now. Now, like I said, going into it, well, in the history, we have got a good, you know, record, especially recently. We have obviously haven't lost to them since 2019, and all the games since I can remember all of them from my top of my head, like a moment in the game. So obviously the 1-0 in 2020, Loire, obviously a vital goal, which obviously did help us stay up that season, as we know. Then we beat them 1-0, which me and my dad were at that game actually when Fred set up Elijah for the goal. Um, it was a header. It was a great cross into the box, that goal. And then a 3-1, I went to that game. That was the last time I went to Hull when James Bree scored a free kick. We were comfortable that game, really. We were so comfortable. They got a consolation goal right at the end, but we were 3-0 up. We were cruising, really. And then obviously the 2-0, which was a Friday night, the Lansbury goal. You'll remember that. And then obviously the 0-0 in May 2023. Both teams had nothing to play for. We were already in the playoffs, whereas Hull were just mid-table, nothing to play for. And then obviously the 1-0 this season, which wasn't the best performance from us, let's be honest. Like a lot of home performances haven't been, but we got the result. McGuinness goal, great goal to be fair. But if Hull did have a better striker on that day, which they have improved in January on a good attack, then they would have probably got a draw out of the game. I'll be honest with you guys. I mean, João Pedro back then was not great. He is suspended for this game, so you know he has hit a bit of form. Well, up until that suspension he got, so you know. But since then, like I said, they've improved on their attack. They've got Gelhardt in, who we were looking at before he went to Hull. Obviously, they've got other players as well, you know, that can hurt us. And you know, it's an interesting one with them because I think their attack's good, but we can definitely get out of their defence. I believe that. You know, they've got a few good players there. Coyle, I think he's quite a good right back, to be fair. But you know, their centre half partnership, I think we can get at that. Dramo obviously had a decent game against us last time. I believe he's out for this game, so you know that is a benefit in that sense. So yeah, let's just try and hurt them, you know, in that sense because we know we can, but then again they'll look at it and they'll think they can from their attacking perspective. But when it comes into the game regarding you know other insights, Hull City are winless across their prior 6 league games against Luton Town, drawing 1, losing 5, scoring just 1 goal across that time, which was obviously that game, like I say, where we were 3-0 up in cruise control. And then they got a goal in the, I think it's 90th plus minute, something. Luton Town are unbeaten across their last 5 away league games against Hull City, winning 4, drawing 1, keeping 4 clean sheets in the process, which is very good. Because we know we don't have that against a lot of teams, especially away. Hull are unbeaten across their last 4 league games, winning 2, drawing 2. Tigers' longest streak to 6-game spell in April 2024. Luton have won 2 of their last 4 league games, drawing 1, losing 1, as many victories as across as their prior 18 matches combined. drawing 4, losing 12. Luton's Colton Morris has won more aerial duels than any other player in the Championship this season, 177. Now, it's also lost more aerial duels than any other player in the competition too, 171. Now, you could look at that and you think to yourself, well, half of them he does get proper held onto and nothing happens. But then again, from the side where he has won it, it's like, yeah, it's all well and good he has won it there, but you want him in the box, doing what a number 9 is known for doing and pouncing onto stuff. And he hasn't quite done that throughout the season, as we know. So hopefully there's a change in that sense from Morris in this game, because I do believe, he gets the chances Elijah's had in recent weeks. He buries them. Despite him, Morris still not being great throughout the season, he's been better than Elijah. He's got 2 more goals. So, yeah, overall we got a decent record, like I say, against Hull. Especially since I've remembered Luton games. We've always done well against them. So it's one of them teams which, from their end, we could be a bit of a bogey team for Hull.
Yeah, it's another must-win game really. To keep there. Need a similar performance, if not better performance than the one at Cardiff. I think Hull are a team. If you get at them, then you can dismantle them, a bit like us really. So that is going to be interesting to see how it pans out. But you can't be sitting there and letting them have the ball and stuff like that. Give them confidence. You just got to go at them and stop that. So yeah, the record excellent. Over the years, we've had battles. I think did they beat us? We won the title, League 2, League 1 title a few years ago. They finished like first or second. They're similar to us in a lot of ways, to be fair to them. But we've just got promoted and that, and we've got the cash, and we should be doing a lot better. I am quite confident though. We can get results. So we've got players back from injury. We've got options in defence, whether we go 4 at the back or 3 at the back. Chong's going to be available as well, probably on the bench, but see what he can bring. We have missed him driving forward and things like that. Be interesting to see if he does come on, who he comes on for. Possibly I could see it being Doubting. I know Ali's come on and done well, but I think that could be a possibility. I think you could probably put Ali as an attacking midfielder if you wanted to. You know what I mean? Put him in that centre and get to drive at players. So I think he could do it all over the pitch, not just on the wings. Whereas, Chong's kind of in an attacking role. He's played there before, and he can link up well, I think. So we'll see. But yeah, I'm feeling pretty confident that we can get a result, to be honest.
Yeah. On the Chong thing, obviously we sort of discussed it on the last one. I could see him probably coming on either for Asgard, like a like for like, just because Asgard's been away. Obviously, I know he didn't play the last game, but still, obviously the travelling side of things, or Doughty, like you say. There has been a few. Obviously, people say maybe like sort of in his sort of free roaming up front in like sort of his own sort of bit alongside Morris, which I could maybe see, but I just think for now he'll be on the bench. Especially with the fact he's just come back. Maybe if Asgard did play the other day, I could maybe see him like coming in. But with him obviously being, not playing in that second game, I think that Chong will be on the bench. And again, you don't want to rush these players back. And it will be good to see Chong in a position where we actually want to see him as fans. Because wherever he plays, I think wherever he plays, whether it's, where Doughty was, or, obviously changed for him, or where Asgard or Walsh is, whoever, we won't mind that because it's not as a wing back where we know he's quite weak defensively, let's be honest. So it'd be good to see him back. And he's one of them players like Jones that will drive at players and give it a go. So it'd be good to see that again. And the thing about Chong as well, to be fair, before he got injured, he won us a lot of free kicks. So that could be a benefit because we're not so reliant on Doughty now, so we're not so predictable. We can have Walsh over it, we can have Clark over it, Doughty himself. We've got other options there as well, so that'll be good as well from that side of things. But yeah, as for me in this game, we have to. For me, like yes, Hull have been on decent form. Right, they have to be fair. They beat the teams around them, which they've needed to do to try and sort of extend away from it a little bit. We really need to try and win this game for me because even if we win, we're still in the zone. Obviously, we're on the same points, depending on what Derby do. But obviously, they're not playing until I think it's Wednesday because obviously the FA Cup, Preston are in that. So, sort of need to make an early statement. And then obviously we've got Derby a bit later on in the season. Derby, Cardiff, we need to sort of, get up them guys really. I do think Plymouth are probably already gone. But if we can get some result against we do like to leave it late. You think of Hull when we had that mad game, Loire, the 1-0. Them type of games, could be beneficial, and we just need to dig deep. And like you say, I've got a bit more confidence because we've had a break now. Obviously, players that weren't selected, and also, you've seen that you can try other things. Like again, like I say, Jones is another option that you could maybe put up there, and things like that. Give Bowler more of a chance as well. I think we need to do that because every time he's come on in recent games, looked very good. To be fair to him, it's a major part of that goal that we scored against Cardiff, the second one. So yeah, I'll definitely be looking to give these players a go, and you know, it's going to be good to see Chong. When he does come on, because I don't think he starts, like we say, but it'd be good to see him actually come on in a position we want to see him in. But going on to the lineups, I've done two this week. I've done one that I would do with a back three and one that I'll do with a back four. Me personally, I think we will go with a back three again. Um, but this is what I'd go with for the game against Hull. So I would go Kaminsky in goal, goes without saying. Obviously, he didn't get called up for Belgium, but again, he don't really start for him anyway, so it probably wouldn't have mattered in that sense. So it'll be raring to go. Makoso, you got to stick with him. I think when it comes to the centre backs on form right now, especially if his age, the way he's settled in, we've got to keep him in for me. The passion. He's sort of right now, you could say a cult hero right now because the way he's come in and sort of had our doubts defensively. We've looked better when he's obviously been in. Obviously Naismith's been out, which we thought if Naismith was out, we'd be messed up basically. But we've actually done all right, to be fair. McGuinness, you got to stick with him. Like I've said before, he can be a future captain for us, I believe. It maybe even he could take the armband a few times next year because he's not going to go. I think to myself, Morris is 50-50 right now, whether he'll stay, in my opinion. Uh, I think Doughty will be gone. I'm basing it if we go down. Kaminsky will be gone. Clark, I'd give him another year. So I reckon you could see a flicker between him and Clark maybe a few times. Predominantly Clark have it. Bell, I think, will be gone. Do you know what I mean? I'm thinking of people who've been the captain recently or throughout the season. I think you could give it to him, especially if the amount of games he plays for us. Naismith's obviously on loan, but I would go Naismith on the left, put him in. Like I say, he didn't play against Middlesbrough at all. Obviously, he was on the bench, so he'll be rested, ready to go to replace Bell because I don't think Bell will quite make it. And I think just because of what we've seen in the past with Bell, when he's come back from Jamaica, I don't want to risk it. So I'll go Naismith. I'm going to go Bowler on the right because I want to give him a chance. I think he's done well every time he's come on, like I said. Doughty on the left, that goes without saying. And then Asgard, Walsh, and Clark again. I think that goes without saying. Given that is what we've stuck with, and also that is the midfield, which it's been looking better. And you wouldn't. Let's be honest. You on paper, you probably wouldn't think it because there's not really a defensive sort of one there. Clark can do a bit of both, but it's not really ideal sometimes. But it has been working better under Bloomfield. Not that Edwards ever played it, but when he did put, more attacking midfielders in, like Clark and, I don't know, Baptiste when he was fit, it didn't really work, did it? So, yeah. And then up front, like I say, I've had that debate with Jones. I don't think it will be Jones. I think it will be Elijah and Morris, but obviously this is what I'd go with. I'd go with Morris and Jones in this game because Jones, you'll have confidence, like I say, whoever you get a hat trick against, you have confidence. Morris is obviously been slightly better than Elijah, so I'll stick with Morris in this game. So yeah, and like I say, I prefer Ali out wide than up front. Um, or anywhere in that five really. When it comes to that, so that's what I'd go with when it comes to that. But when it comes to a back four, if we were to play a back four in this game, this is what I'd play. So classic. This I know it's not going to happen. I don't even know last time we played 4-4-2. But it's basic and it does work, and I think it could work with our players if we did use it. So Kaminsky in goal again. Walter's right back now. Walters has been playing, training, shall I say, this week. So that's the reason I go with it. I saw him in a few pictures. Naismith left back, obviously, he can play there. Centre back partnership, I'd go McGuinness and Makoso. Obviously, going with the midfield four, you have to sacrifice either Walsh or Asgard. For me, I'd sacrifice Walsh if that was the case, because Asgard's obviously scored. Clark has been one of our better players this season. Walsh is been doing better last couple of games, but I think when you compare the three right now, that's the one you'd have to drop personally. So yeah, Doughty on the left, Bowler on the right, Asgard and Clark. And then again, up front, I'd go the same. If we were to play that, obviously that is not what we're going to play. There's more chance of us playing, like I say, this back three, with the 5-3-2 here. But like I say, if we were to play back four, that's what I'd go with in this game. So yeah, that's my thoughts on that. When it comes to your lineup, there you go. I believe it's well.
Kaminsky, back three, Makoso, McGuinness, and Naismith. Like I say, Bell, even if he's I think we'll rest him. We've made that mistake in the past. You could potentially put Johnson there. We'll see what happens. Burke might get a start, but I can't really see it. I don't think Makoso deserves to be dropped. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but the midfield, I'm sticking with the same midfield that's been working pretty well over the last few games. I know Jones. People are asking, but I don't think it's going to happen. And I'm afraid, some stress heads out there and that it's going to be Morris and Elijah again up front. What I do like about Bloomfield is, if Elijah's not, any of them are not performing, particularly Elijah, they'll be gone after 50 odd minutes or whatever. You could say, try someone else, start someone else and that. And he has done that in the past. We've had Nelson up front, we've had Nordas up front. Hasn't quite worked out, but we've got quite good options off the bench now. We've got some real quality and depth on the bench. So, if the fight's in there, you've got to go with them. They're used to it. He scored against them before. He does. He's kind of playing well. It's just his finishing. It's like, you know what I mean? His other game is sort of picked up a little bit, isn't it? At times. It's just his finishing has just gone backwards kind of thing. But yeah, I think it'll be them two still. Can't really see it being anyone else. And like I say, if it's not working out, I expect it to change, but for they've still got that experience, they've still got that power, and if you can get them on the ball and you can, they take their chances, then they're going to score, aren't they? And
yeah, I mean, what I will say. Go on. You say what you're going to say, Dad.
Nordas has just come back off of whole season. He's getting used to English football. He's got an assist. He's looked good at times. The last game he didn't look particularly good. Ali, I think, is too small for the way we play in at the moment, anyway. Especially when it's a little bit desperate and you are, just lumping it up there. You're in a relegation fight. Do you know what I mean? You can't really be experimenting too much with that. So, yeah, I think it'll probably be that more likely.
Yeah, just what I was going to say on Elijah, just to get a bit of confidence, try and get a bit of confidence. is, to be fair, he does have a decent goal scoring record against Hull. You know, I think of that 1-0 we was at that when Fred set him up. Brilliant cross from Fred. You know, he did score in that game. You know, you also look at the 3-1. He got a goal and an assist in that game. He scored the first goal and then he assisted Cornick when Hull were shambles at the back. I don't know what they were doing that day, I'll be honest. But we capitalised on it. And I believe we can do that again. Like, I look at their defence and I think, well, Coyle's good. You know, I think he's quite a good player. He works hard and I'd like him on the ball sometimes. But like their centre back partnership, we can get at. Dre May has a good game against us last time, but he's out apparently. So, you know, them sort of players we can try and go at and give it a go with that experience, like you say. And I just feel like I say Morris just needs to be a bit more of a number 9 in the sense of being in the box, you know, causing them threats. Because like I say, if he has the chances Elijah's had, for me, he scores them. You know, but we just need that goal from Elijah to kickstart it. But yeah, it is getting to that stage now where we sort of need it now, sort of thing. So hopefully this could be the game, seeing that he's got a good record against them. We have a good record against Hull as you know, in general, throughout, you know, the history. We've actually beaten more times. We don't have that against an awful lot of teams, let's be honest. So let's just try and beat them, you know. And I do think in a way they're still in it, Hull. I think you need probably about 45 points to stay up, confirm it this year with the way it's going. But I also think they've got a few decent results against teams in and around last couple of weeks. And Oxford are sorting to drag down into it. They beat Oxford. You know, they beat Plymouth as well. You know, them sort of games, you know, they're sort of not take their foot off the gas, but it'd be a bit more, you know, we'll need it more sort of thing because we're still in it. You know what I mean? And even if we win, we're still in it. But it's only on goal difference from there on in. So for me, we need to win this game, you know, after saying all that. And yeah, do get in your score predictions, guys. Jackie says, hi, Ty does. I'm feeling confident Saturday. Be interested to see the lineup. Yeah, like I say, I've gone with what I'd go with if I went with the back 3 and a back 4. I do think there's more chance of the back 3, like I say. We'll just stick with what we've gone with. But for me, the only change I'd probably see Bloomfield doing is Naismith in for Bell. If I'm being realistic, that's probably the only one I could see. Just given you don't want to risk Bell like we have in previous years, and he ain't been great. And Naismith, like I say, was fully rested against Middlesbrough as well. So Jamie's on my other account. I just said the exact same lineup as well. So yeah, there we go with that. But yeah, moving on to that time, Dad, that final time. Like we say, we're both feeling fairly confident. You know, international break. You know, can we go? You know, first game back and win away at Hull?
I don't see why not. You know, we've got a lot of players back. Excellent record against them. They'd probably be more happy with a draw. You know what I mean? We just got, if we show, we won recently away, so that hoodoo's kind of gone. And we've been picking up a little bit, and I think, you know, we're not because suddenly just dropped now. I think we'll have enough to get over the line again. So I'm going to go 2-1 Luton win.
Nice. Yeah, and like you say, we won our last away game. That'll give us confidence. Scored a great goal in that game, as we know, obviously, Jordan Clark. You know, so it's an interesting one. For me, like I say, we got a good record against Hull. Every time I can think of Luton games against Hull, they've all been good memories. Even though the game earlier in this season wasn't the greatest watch, we won the game. Do you know what I mean? And I wouldn't mind on Saturday if that was the case. We really need to win it. You know, more than they do. Obviously, they've extended a bit of a gap. Obviously, they still need to get some results, but we need this more. And I am going to back us to win. I'm going to back us to go there and win 1-0, similar to the Loire days. So, yeah, that's what I'm going to say. 1-0, typical famous 1-0. And obviously, that year we did stay up. We did like a lot of 1-0. So I think we went to Middlesbrough away, didn't we? And win 1-0 as well or something. So, yeah, I remember you ringing me, Dad, absolutely buzzing that day. So, yeah, hopefully it's going to be like that for the remainder of the season. You know, we just grind out results. And that's another thing we haven't even mentioned. We got Leeds next. You know, and again, I know they've dropped off a little bit, but they're a team you cannot, do silly errors against, basically, because they will punish you. So yeah, it's one of them where you need to win, and obviously our next two games are 12:30, so early kickoffs. We've got to be up for it, and then go from there, really. So yeah, other score predictions before we wrap up. Paul has gone 2-0. Morris and Asgard. It'd be good for Asgard to score. Technically for Asgard, because he didn't play the last game for Norway, that'll be 2 out of 2 goals. 2 goals in 2 games. So that'd be good for him. But yeah, Morris, that'd be good. I just think if Morris is in the right place at the right time, he could definitely score. I have no question about that. It's just not in the box sometimes where we need him. He's dropping deep, and it is a bit frustrating at times. Jackie says 2-1 to Luton, same as you, Dad. Come on, you Hatters. Absolutely. Jamie on my account said 1-0 either way or 0-0. I was thinking 0-0, but then I'm thinking, there's got to be a goal. Especially me going to this. I can't go all that way like all the other Hatters that are going to this and not score. Like, every game I've been to, we've lost, I'll be honest, away game. But hopefully now this is a change. I look at the last 2 games as well. We have played better. The Cardiff game was a good away win that gave us confidence. The Middlesbrough game we should have won, let's be honest, but we were so dominant and we looked like how we should throughout the season. It was just the chances, but I feel in this type of game with the record against Hull, we could definitely score a goal. So that's how I see it. Jones' goal, yeah, that'd be good. And that again, that'd be good for him. If he did score, that'd be 4 goals in 3 games, depending on how many he scored. That'd be good for him as well. Jackie's gone Jordan and Jones. Again, Clark, that'd be good for him. Best player so far this season on our voting. And he did score in the last away game as well. So that could be back-to-back in that sense for him. So yeah, like Jackie says, we have got that off our back. And again, we've had worries, and I said it earlier, we've had worries with Naismith not being in, that we would concede a lot. And we've only conceded 1 goal in the 2 games. We played a Cardiff side who are obviously fighting like us, and then we played a Middlesbrough team who were up there in the playoffs. So you've got to look at that as well, and think, well, with him coming back in, we should be even more confident than we were. Especially with how much we were singing his praises basically a couple of weeks ago. But any final things, Dad, you want to say before we end it?
Yeah, Morris and Asgard my goal scorers. Yeah, I just think we have turned the corner, and I think we've got the players back now at the right time. Whereas last season we just didn't, and I think that could put us over the line. As long as these players come on and do something if they're needed, I think that could potentially put us over the line. So I'm feeling pretty confident now. So yeah, let's enjoy it. Back to this grind, back to the season, and let's see what happens.
Yeah, and obviously now a good positive thing is we got no international break now, so we won't be having a break like we have, and dissecting it. We'll just be playing pretty much every other week. Obviously, we've got a lot of midweek games as well against teams around us that we have to aim to win. So it's going to be an interesting end to the season. But we've both gone with a win. Obviously, you said 2-1, Dad. Obviously, I said a 1-0 away win. So let's see. We need this. And then obviously going to Leeds. Maybe a bit of confidence if we did win, but, still arguably the best team in the league. Or if not the second best team in the league, whatever your opinion is on that. But yeah, regarding the game, obviously I am going. It's my first game since Oxford. And Oxford started off well, as we know. Didn't end quite well that game, obviously, as we know. So hopefully it's not that type of game. Hopefully it's just a good performance all round. And then obviously I am, like I've mentioned, I did put it out earlier on the YouTube Shorts. Do make sure you check it out. I am obviously staying in Hull till Sunday, so I don't have to rush around. So if you are going to the game, I know there's a lot of people that are going to the game. Obviously, if you do want to do a fan cam after the game, I will be somewhere in the away section. So yeah, do obviously contact me or put a message in this video if you want to obviously be on that, and we'll get that sorted. And then, yeah, like I say, obviously there'll be a vlog as well to the game, so do check that out. And yeah, it's going to be good. It's going to be good doing that because obviously the whole game, the Oxford game, I did do a vlog. I think the last vlog on the channel as a whole was Bolton actually. So it's been a while since the Luton one, so it'd be good to be back there in and around the atmosphere. And yeah, hopefully the boys can get a win, which we need, and then we move on to the Leeds game. Obviously next week, another early kickoff, or weekend, shall I say? So yeah, big up to everyone that has checked this out. Do obviously smash a like if you haven't already. New subscriber as well recently, so big up to yourself as well if that was. And yeah, like I say, smash a like, do subscribe, subscribe to the extra channel as well. Follow me across all my socials, and yeah, check out everything that comes out. If anything comes out tomorrow, like Bell's back or something, then I'll probably do a little video on it. But a little bit more of a busier day tomorrow, traveling and stuff because I'm going to Hull tomorrow. So yeah, with it being an early kickoff, so yeah, man, big up to everyone. And yeah, like I say, smash like, subscribe, all of that. And yeah, we'll do a hut show probably on Tuesday. And then we can go straight into the Leeds game on Friday. And a video will come out on Thursday, actually, regarding the Leeds game. So also do check that out as well. So yeah, big up to everyone that's tuned in. And until next time, take care and peace. Come on, Luton.